Good afternoon, St. John Vianney community. It's Father Egren, and I am here presenting the welcome back opening schedule for our Sunday Masses and our weekday Masses. I want to introduce Robin Acosta and Debbie, who couldn't be here. Both Robin and Debbie are the captains who are helping along with tons of volunteers. We had about 100 volunteers come in today to help with set up all these ministries that are needed to reopen up the church. So for today, we just wanted to introduce to you sort of the layout of what we're doing and what to expect when you come back to St. John Vianney this weekend. Okay. So one of the things that we wanted to just go over was 5 things to note when you come into one of the services. The first one will be that when you come in, you're going to notice that there is a seat number on your pew. We're asking you to take a photo of it, write it down, or just memorize it if you can't, maybe. The reason for this is that we need this information for contact tracing. If by chance, God forbid, any of you were to get sick, the CDC were to call us up and they're going to want to know where this person was seated. So that'll be one of the first things you'll note when you come into the church. The other thing you'll notice in terms of the pews is that all the pews have been arranged where you're seated socially distant to be 6 feet apart from one another.
So the second thing we want to remind you of is social distancing in the pews and anytime on campus. It's important to keep at least 6 feet away from each other and try to remain as touchless as possible. So when you're seated in your pews, try to keep your hands in front of you. Try not to touch the pews or touch the numbers or any of the ribbons that are placed in the church.
The third thing that you'll notice during one of the services is the communion rite will be a little different. Communion will now be taken right to your pew. Again, the whole understanding is that we want to minimize movement. You'll be simply asked to stand up for communion if you are to receive the Eucharist. If not, you could do as always, put your hands over your heart to receive that special blessing. So there will be no communion lines, no need to worry about will I be in contact with other people when we form the line, none of that. Communion will be taken right directly to your pew where you don't have to worry about that.
The next thing is Sunday collection is a little different. We've placed baskets at the baptismal font for you to drop off before you enter into the pew. You could drop it off at the beginning, but if for some reason you forget, you can also place your donation before you exit in the same area. So the baskets will be there for your convenience. And of course, remember, you can also put your donation online.
That's
so
right.
If you haven't registered online, you could go ahead and do your weekly payment online.
Yeah, good point. You guys are doing a really good job with the online giving. I know Robin, the Acostas were not an online giver, and since you became an online giver, you've said it's way easier, right?
Very easy.
And it's easy to do, so you just go online and maybe you want to do that before you come back. The last thing to note that will be different during the liturgy is the dismissal at the very end. Again, we're trying to minimize all the movement and minimize any contact with other people. So at the very end, during the recessional, it will be different. You will be dismissed by section. So section A, the west side of the church will go out first, and then section B, and then section D, and section C, and then section D. And that's all, again, so that there will be less of this congregating of groups of people, and makes you feel safe and secure, and you know that everything that we're doing, all these 5 things that we're doing, are all to keep everybody as safe as possible, and we want you to feel comfortable when you do decide to come back, and hopefully it is this weekend that you return. Okay. I'm going to turn this over to Robin and to Debbie. Both of them are heading these ministries, and she's just going to go over them and give you an idea of what we've constructed over the weekend. So take it away, Robin.
Yes, so there's several zones. The first zone we're going to talk about is our greeters, who will be at the front of the main entrance when you enter into the church. Your greeters will kind of let you know where we are with the maximum capacity of 100 parishioners in the church at the time. So those folks will help you and get you to the correct line for registration if you've already pre-registered, where to go. And then also, if you don't have a reservation, you can do a walk-in. So those folks will help you get there. The second zone is our hand sanitizers. Once you pass the greeters, you will go ahead and be greeted by another group. That would be our hand sanitizers, who will place the hand sanitizer into your hands. And whether you're wearing gloves or not, we need to actually physically do that. Whether you bring your own hand sanitizer, we are going to go ahead and place some sanitizer in your hands, and we ask that you put that on your hands and sanitize up.
It smells good too, by the way. It smells good stuff, yeah.
So our next zone is the counter, so they will be clicking in each individual person, so we could keep track of how many people have already come into the parish, so, not the parish, actually, to the church.
Yeah.
And we have ushers, so once you do come in, please wait for the ushers, because they will direct you. It's very important. Don't run in, pick your favorite seat. Wait for your ushers to tell you where to go, because there are some specific seating in regards to larger families, smaller families, so on and so forth. So please wait for your ushers, and they will escort you to your seat. And to Father's point, you want to remember where you're seating, so take a picture of the number. It's all numbered, and once you come in, it'll make sense.
Okay.
And then the last zone, zone 5, we're talking about is our cleaners, because everything you touch, it needs to be sanitized. So another thing in regards to the ushers, they're seating you in a place so they know where they need to clean. We are going to actually clean everything, but we'll concentrate more on where everyone is sitting in regards to the cleaners. So those two kind of are hand in hand. So
yeah. So all of this, why are we doing all of this? Is because we put people first. We care about you. We want to make this experience to come back to worship and pray and receive Holy Communion as safe and as comfortable and pleasing to all of you. So we want to do this presentation tonight to be able to explain to you and assure you that we're doing all that we possibly can, and that we're following the guidelines that have been provided by the Archbishop in the Archdiocese of Los Angeles, so that when you are ready and you've consulted with your personal doctor and they've given you the okay to come in, you can feel confident that we are doing our part. The church is really clean, and we are taking all the measures that we're being asked to take. The last thing that we want to go over is our schedule. So this weekend, the schedule will be the 5:15 Vigil Mass, the 8 a.m. Spanish Mass, excuse me, I start over. The 5:15 English Communion service was this evening. The 6:30 a.m. Communion service, the 8 a.m. Spanish Mass, the 10 a.m. English Mass, so both Masses will be live streamed, so live streaming continues, okay? The noon Communion service, the 1:45 Spanish Communion service, and the 5:15 Communion service. There will be a dual ongoing second site in the O'Callahan Center for communion services for all of those hours, with the exception of the 6:30 and the 1:45. So we are going to have a capacity of 200 people at each particular service time. And again, we will continue the live streaming. Another thing to note, as Robin we've talked about, is that the dispensation from the Archbishop is still in effect. So no need to feel guilty if you can't make it or you're not feeling comfortable. We understand. We just want to let you know this evening that we're doing our part to make sure that when you are ready and you are okay by your doctor, that it is as safe as possible here. I think we've covered it all. This is our journey back home, and we hope to see you soon this weekend, if not some other weekend, okay? Stay tuned. Everything can be updated on the webpage for more information. God bless.